Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, I want to talk about what we've seen from Markelle Fultz through the 2 games with the Sacramento Kings. They have gone 1-1. He's appeared in the 2 games post All-Star break. We do know that the reason why he had not signed with the team earlier in the season was as a result of him recovering from a knee injury. Now, let's just get right into it and talk about what have we seen with Markelle Fultz. Before we start today's video, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and hit the link in the description if you guys want to read what I've written at hoopshype.com, where I work. So let's go ahead and talk about today's video. And Markelle Fultz so far is playing the role that we expected him to play with the Sacramento Kings, which was being the defensive pass first table setter off the bench for a Kings squad that doesn't necessarily have a true facilitator on the roster since trading De'Aaron Fox. Now, this is a team that over 2 games, they've seen Markelle Fultz average 6.5 points, 2 rebounds, and assists a night, shooting 50% from the field and 50% from 3, obviously, all on low volume. The first game, he played 10 minutes at 8 points on 4 or 5 shooting, and he really was going at the rim. He did have 3 turnovers, which I just think was a little bit of butterflies. And then this past game where they won against the Hornets, they lost against the Warriors. He played 18 minutes, had 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. He did shoot 2 of 7 from the field, but we clearly saw how he was active on defense and just the energy he provided. He should have had, more assists, but his teammates missed a couple easy shots. I think his ability to be in the passing lanes, as you guys see, one of his steals was literally him just waiting for the ball, and just being a good defender is allowing him to already kind of see the impact they needed from him, especially from a King squad that, if you guys haven't realized, since trading De'Aaron Fox, they are playing, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan together, which was evident that they were going to do, but it's a Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Domas lineup, and with now Jonas, Trey Lyles, Jake LaRavia, Keon Ellis, and Markelle, that's a really good 10-man rotation in comparison to where they were. And I think it's something evident, and I want to hear your thoughts before I talk about my next point. What do you guys think of his impact, and do you think I think they're just going to expand his role, especially the attacking of the rim he's provided? Now, the Kings are 500. They're 28-28 currently on the season, 10th in the Western Conference, battling for a play-in spot. And I think the reason they brought him, we've said it before, it was the defense, the passing, and him just rebuilding his value, and it's a good fit. And currently with the team and the roster construction, I think it is a good kind of it's on paper you would think it'd be awkward because of the spacing, but so far when they're out there, they run a very spaced lineup. As you see, Jake LaRavia, Keon Ellis he really is kind of the architect for the second unit. Now, when you look at just how he's kind of fitting himself into the rotation, I think he's done a good job. Obviously, it's been 2 games, but this is a team that he's currently playing with the second unit, and I think, as we just mentioned, and I really like it because with how it looks, he's currently the second unit guy, and this is a team that, yes, it's a deep roster, but we're not going to sit here and be like, oh, it's an insane roster. With Zach LaVine being a guy who historically has missed some time every year, DeMar DeRozan being older, Keon Ellis being streaky in terms of his offensive production, sometimes becoming inept, and Devin Carter as well being inexperienced and still learning the ropes. If you look behind that, Devin Carter right now, Jake LaRavia is playing 12 minutes a night. His shot isn't falling. Crazy to think that Jay Crowder's been on this team and he's only played in 7 games. They've just signed him, didn't phase him out, and then phased them out. Jonas is really a backup here. He's coming in when needed. Zach LaVine himself is averaging 20 points a night, and I'm enjoying it. I think it's solid. And with Devin Carter, as we already said, very limited role. His shot isn't falling either. It makes sense that this is why Doug Christie, who's the intern coach, they've gone 15-10 since he's came in, as he's fostered a culture of defensive intensity, taking advantage of it, transition play. And Doug Christie himself was a defensive-minded swing man who played the 2 and the 3, and I think his desire in terms of how he wants his team to play will lead to Christie leaning on Fultz more, as they're the 8th worst defensive rating at 115.5. They've needed better perimeter defense. They're 12th ranked in pace, and Fultz has always thrived in transition, especially when trying to get to the cup. And having this defensive energy off the bench plus table setting to help these guys who are struggling to shoot the ball, in Jake LaRavia so far, who they probably expect to be part of the rotation. Keon Ellis is actually having a solid season this year, and Trey Lyles, shots not hitting, but historically he's a decent shooter. So having a guy like Fultz providing solid perimeter defense, disrupting passing lanes, and then allowing him on offense, which this team, when they're playing, they're 8th in points per game, 116.6, 9th in offensive rating. They are the 6th worst opponents' points per game at 116.3, so they're literally only outscoring their opponents by 0.3 points a game. And we already mentioned the 8th defensive rating. That shows us that this Kings squad can score at will, but it's the defensive lapse, the inconsistencies on that end of the floor that has plagued them since they made the playoffs. And Fultz obviously can go and carry the second unit's offense, but his ability to defend, facilitate, and attack the rim, especially with Zach LaVine being more of a shooting guard, and DeMar, he can play with the starters or off the bench. So I think the Kings are allowing too many open shots from opposing guards and opposing wings. Fultz, with his length, has the ability to lower that. And if Monk or Ellis struggle, Fultz can come in and play alongside LaVine and DeMar. And I think teams with elite backcourts will allow Fultz to come in and play with the starters, so they don't have to be as concerned about them just leaking points. And yeah, that's where I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you guys agree with me on this, or am I just dumb? I think it's a one that makes sense if you just look at it on the whole, because of what they're trying to build there. But I want to hear your opinions in the comment section. What do you guys expect from Markelle Fultz? Do you guys agree with what we've seen so far from Markelle Fultz? And yeah, Markelle Fultz is kind of what they've needed.